But this is my Jetson Orin Nano. These, of course, are the buttons I wired in for on-off and to restart. And then right here is a hard disk drive. It was a Seagate 2 terabyte for Xbox, and I just went ahead and made it work. Hope you guys are all doing well. This is one of the first official update videos for OfflineOne, and yes, we are 3 months late. 4 months ago, I made a video called I Have Zero Experience Doing This. You can find it on my YouTube page right now, where I first introduced the idea for OfflineOne, and I said I would have an update video every single month. Well, you might be asking yourself, what happened? That's exactly what Obie asked me in the comments. What happened to updates? That was 1 month ago, and I still didn't have an update video ready at that time. Well, I'll tell you, Obie, and I'll tell everyone else who is wondering that as well. I had a lot of personal things come down right after I made that video. A couple weeks afterwards, there was a loss in the household, and it just wasn't a good time to get into video making. But since then, I've been still improving in the background, even if I haven't made all my updates public. I've been making some shorts when I can, just not any full-length videos like the one you're watching right now. Tiny llama running on my laptop here, and I think it's confused. What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to make this video to say OfflineOne is not done. We are going to be starting videos again on this soon. Haven't been able to make a video every month, just a quick update for everyone. We are making progress. I have been up way too late, but I now have code that works. Hey, so I'm actually going ahead and just copying all my data from my micro SD card. Hey everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to show you how to add a power button to your NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano. Well, I did a few things to the OfflineOne project, and I'd like to give you guys an update. What's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are all doing well. Just had a quick update for you. So I didn't record the whole project, but here we are now, 4 months later. We are in June. Actually, today is June 1st, and I've got an update video. So first things first, let's just go ahead and go over what I want to do in this video. Number one, I just want to address me not making any update videos. I hope I have. If you guys still have questions about that, feel free to leave me comments and I'll answer them as I see them. Two is I want to go ahead and recap what OfflineOne is, who it's for, and why I'm doing it. And three is I want to go and show you guys what I've been working on the past 4 months to prove to you that I have not just been putting it to the side on the back burner. I have been actively working on this project. All right, let's go and jump right into what OfflineOne is. OfflineOne is an idea I came up with actually almost a year ago now, and I made my first video back in February of 2026. And that was where I wanted to first introduce the idea and kind of go over what I thought about it from, possibly a commercial view. Like if I were to ever make the product commercialized and try to sell it to other people as a competitor to Amazon Alexas and similar devices to that. However, for anybody who's new here, or maybe didn't see the old video or just needs an update because it's been so long since the last video came out, OfflineOne is designed to be a hyper-intelligent, passive learning AI assistant. What does this mean? Well, first and foremost, unlike your Amazon Alexa that listens to you but doesn't give you any of the data and sells it without you knowing about it, my system is designed to also retrieve data passively, store it into user profiles, and also separate profiles like ambient profiles, tone for like how somebody is talking, lots and lots. I have to build the memory, and it's kind of getting complex at this point. However, the end goal is that it's going to have a profile on every user. It's going to know who you are, how you talk, where you go to work, everything there is to know about you. And this information is going to be saved locally on your machine. This machine is designed actually to have no access to the internet at all. So there is absolutely no way your data can be leaked. This is a really big deal when you consider that Amazon Alexa and other competitors like Google take in all of your information and sell it privately to all kinds of big databases, whether it's for training new AI programs like ChatGPT or if it's for selling offshores to advertisers and scammers. However, the thing about it is that retrieving this personal data actually is very beneficial to the machine itself to make it more intelligent and more attained to your needs as an individual. The problem isn't that we're receiving this information, it's that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing with it and we're selling it without your permission. That's why I want to make a product called OfflineOne. It's a hyper-intelligent AI assistant that receives all this information and more, but stores it on the machine locally, so that way it can give you a personalized experience. Not only is it giving you a personalized experience, but it has no way of ever uploading this information anywhere at all either. So you don't have to worry about your data being stolen. This is a really big deal, and I think that if I can get enough people to follow me and really promote this idea, we could make a big difference in the tech industry. At this time, I'm just using some large language models that are open source, such as Mistral and a Tiny Llama. I tried using Pi a little bit, PHI by Microsoft. It's not my favorite model, but I'm just experimenting with what will work for the time being. The end goal, I would love to make my own large language model from scratch. The issue with this is that it's a very, very complicated task. So for the time being, I'm actually just making my own Python programs with wrappers and then integrating in a large language model using the Llama library. I'm sure this will evolve more in the future, and the more you guys can assist me with doing this project, the more I can learn and make it better. Now that I've gone into kind of the basics of what offline is to me and what I want it to mean to everybody else, let's actually go and jump right into where I'm at now. This is my OfflineOne machine as it currently stands. This is considered a development machine. I got this case for $20 at one of my local thrift shops, and it was actually a hard drive case. So in here, it just had like 5, or I think it was actually 6 hard drive slots to have external hard drives connected to your computer. And it just fit perfectly with what I'm doing. It honestly looks like a little server rack on the inside, and it's really, really cool. We're going to get into the inside of it. I kind of want to show you the exterior first, just so you know what I've done to this thing. First and foremost, I have, this is using a NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano dev kit, and this here is the on-off button, which I wired directly onto the machine, and this is a reset button. Why did I decide to put the reset button on the machine? Well, in the end, I don't want the machine to even have a display. It's not supposed to have a display. In fact, I'll be accessing it remotely on my Microsoft laptop for any type of programming, debugging, or anything like that. So having a reset button on the machine itself is incredibly useful to make it more, I'm trying to remember the word here, but to make it feel more appliance-like and less as if it was just software. I had to create this custom I/O using plexiglass in the back here. So we have two USB 3.0. I actually can't remember if the Jetson Orin uses 3.0, but I figured it couldn't hurt to use this one just in case I was wrong. And then I have just HDMI, nothing special there. Again, the display is really, really not going to be used for too much longer anyways. And then I got the power plugged in here. This is all using plexiglass, and it was a lot of fun to make this actually. I actually had to make it 4 times because plexiglass, if you push on it too hard with a drill bit, you will crack it. And I did this a lot. I haven't worked with plexiglass before, so once I figured it out, it's really easy. It just, you can't apply too much force on it or you're going to break it. Now for the fun part, the inside. I got to fix that hinge. I really, really do. But I'm going to ignore that for now just so I can kind of show you what we're looking at. This here on the top rack, I can't really pull it out too much because it's really tight with all these cables. But this is my Jetson Orin Nano. These, of course, are the buttons I wired in for on-off and to restart. And then right here is a hard disk drive. It was a Seagate 2 terabyte for Xbox, and I just went ahead and made it work as FAT32 file. This bottom one is not used at all, but I'm sure you can see how this kind of gives like a server rack feel to it and how you could do a lot of cool stuff with this. This project is really, really fun, and I'm so glad I finally got the case made because now I can get into all the fun stuff, which is the actual software of it. As far as the software goes, I'm really just working on the design of it currently, trying to design the architecture, the functions, classes, all those good things to actually make the program modular and make it to where I can work on it in the future. Right now, the machine is very bare bones. It's really just a case with buttons and an I/O on the back. Very, very basic. Eventually, I want to have a 4-mic array so it can actually track who's talking and where they're talking in the room. Because remember, we not only need to get the tonnage of how somebody talks recorded, we also need to know where they're talking to you from and who it is who's speaking. So the more microphones, the better. I probably will start with just 2 mics once we get there, just because it's simpler to wire up. But I would like to eventually have a 4-microphone array on the top of the device. We also need to get a speaker wired in as well so that we can communicate back to us. Of course, I'm waiting until I get the mic in there because I'm going to have the mic working with Whisper so that we can decode your vocals into text, send that text into the Python program. The Python program will kind of like strip down the necessary data, filter it, organize it into the correct file for saving prompts. And then it'll send that prompt over to the AI agent of our choice. From there, the AI agent is going to take that prompt that was filtered through my Python program, make a response for the prompt, send it back to the Python program where that prompt and the response will be stored in a separate file for debugging by myself. And so that way I can really improve on the machine and how it talks and works with people. And then we're going to do text to speech and have the machine communicate back towards us vocally. That's the basics for right now. There's a couple other things I want to do as well. Like I would really love to kind of have like an interface, like imagine if it was like my phone. It wouldn't be an app, but like a phone like this one here that just has all the system stats on it, like incoming prompts, outcoming responses, the CPU temperature, and just information like that. That was kind of like a remote from the machine itself. Because remember, the machine is supposed to be more like an appliance. So you know how you may have your router sitting on a shelf in the basement. That's kind of what I want to do with this thing. So it'd be really useful if I can kind of see its stats away from the machine, so I'm not tied to it all the time when I'm using it, programming it, and debugging it. And I think I can do this using two ESP32. Is it S3? I believe it's S3 that has the better connectivity uh, as well. And I would just have those wired in so they can communicate to each other, send each other data, have a small OLED display. It's a smaller project, not the primary concern right now is actually making the machine work, getting the programming in there, and kind of getting the software architecture in place, and then we can worry about everything else later. Well, there's a breakdown of where I'm at, the things I've done since my last video, and what the purpose of this project is. If you guys have questions, please put them in the comments here. If you have any ideas, anything that could help me at all, I could use any assistance. Obviously, I really could use the help here. Let me go ahead and jump into some user comments from my last video. Jake Walkley says you're heavily constrained by hardware limitations. You can run small language models on a device the size of a box, but they'll hallucinate a lot. The best device currently for running AI locally is probably a Mac Studio or a DGX Spark, which both cost thousands of dollars to buy. Jake Walk, you are entirely right. It can be very hard to run AI models on small, one single board computers. Luckily, the NVIDIA Jetson Nano is actually designed for running local large language models. It can run up to a 7B model like Mistral. I've been having some issues with it because when I was running it with my programming, I was using VS Code on the Jetson, which is not smart. I'm now using it remotely on my computer. But yeah, when I was doing it, it was struggling. However, it can run a 7B model like Mistral, and that's going to be good enough for anything we're doing, honestly, because a lot of the model is not even like the model itself that we're using, but the project is mainly actually the Python programming I'm putting into it to filter out specific text and just try and make the responses be exactly what I'm looking for. The biggest part of this program isn't even the AI model. That's not what's going to make it feel more personal to you. It's going to be the user database that's being built passively without you like directly prompting me, hey, my name is Sebastian, for example, and then it will record your name as Sebastian. It can do that. However, it can also pull your name from conversation, from listening to everybody else's conversation around you, where they're talking about you, and even if you're not there, and it can create a profile, even if it never speaks to you directly. This is what's going to make it feel a lot more personal to you, because before that AI model responds to your prompts or talks to you unprompted if it needs to, which I'll get into more later, it's actually going to go through its database on the user. It's going to identify who's speaking, go through the user's database, read through prior conversations, maybe not everything, because if we have it read through all of the data, it's going to slow down the response time. However, it's going to read through some important parts in your profile and have access to it throughout the conversation you have with it before it makes a response. So that's what's going to make it feel more personal. Not it being the biggest model out there, not it being, the fanciest this or anything else. It's going to be that passive learning is what's going to make it feel personal to you. The next one on here is by Juan Miguel 5060. I don't get it. What's the difference from getting a Mac Studio and doing the same? This is not a new or hard product, so I'm curious if you are going to focus on something very particular or if it's just a hoax. Well, I'm really glad you actually brought that up, Juan Miguel. So, I do apologize for saying your last name wrong. I struggle with speaking sometimes. However, I know exactly what you're saying, and this is where it's kind of different. I think a lot of people are thinking that what I'm trying to make is just a local AI agent for my own personal use. If that was the case, then yeah, I could just take a Mac Studio, spend a few grand on it, and then get it hooked up and working. I'm actually trying to create a product that uses passive learning to create very personal conversations with the user. I want to make it be competitive to like Amazon Alexa and similar devices like Google. There's some other ones I just can't think of right now, but it's not just for me. I want to make it for everybody to be able to access. So unfortunately, even if a Mac Studio would work the best, it needs to be budget friendly as well. Like I need to make it, and then I need to make it as cheap as I humanly can by designing some of my own hardware, by making some of my own software, stripping down the software, and just making it. I don't know how that's going to make it cheaper. Again, I'm not the best at like public speaking. However, the goal is to make it not just for me, but for everybody. So just buying a Mac Studio for my own personal device is not what I'm looking for. And the passive learning, it doesn't matter if the machine is $10,000, $2,000, or a $250 Jetson Nano from Amazon. The passive learning is its own program running separately. That's really going to tie the model and the user experience together. So yes, you can get a Mac Studio. Yes, it will run very, very well for you. No, it's not the same thing as what I'm trying to do. This is a comment I actually read through multiple times, and it actually kind of like sat with me a little bit more just because I actually really, really like this comment this guy gave me. It's by Official Ghost UK. I'm about 50% through the same journey. Good luck, brother. This time is now to make this jump. I have a fully local models on an RTX 4090, 24 gigabytes of VRAM. Very good there. In Olama, went through an NAN local, Cloud Code local, OpenClaw local. I'm a little confused on that, but maybe I'm just not reading it correctly. I decided through after all that to start building from scratch in Python my own AI, my own sidekick and personal assistant. The pain, sweat, tears, and 2 a.m. breakdowns are worth it, though, as you essentially breathe new life. Like a digital god, along the way, I hope to accidentally make a product people can truly use, something free in every sense of the word. Where you are not the product and neither is AI. I'm gonna stop right there. Official Ghost UK, that is awesome. I'm really glad you're working on this project, and I'm glad you brought up using the RTX 4090 for its 24 gigabytes of VRAM for making the project run. Because initially, I thought that's what I was going to have to do to get any meaningful model to run. I was initially actually going to get two 3060s with 8 gigabytes of RAM each. Run them together, so that way I'd have 16 gigabytes total, and just like separate the jobs from one to the other. I was thinking about it a little bit differently. I don't think I would do that today, obviously, even if I wanted to go the route of getting a graphics card. And then I was just going to build like a computer that was dedicated for an AI agent. And it just stopped making sense to me when I learned that Jetson Nano Orins are a thing that exist and that they work pretty well for running up to a 7B model, which is what I plan on doing. When I looked into it, it just was more cost effective and just made a lot more sense for me. Because again, if I want to have the best AI model, and nothing else I'm saying is what I'm trying to do, none of the passive learning, none of the custom Python programming, just having that AI model that's very intelligent for day-to-day conversations, I would just pick up like a Mac Studio or build my own computer at that point. Wayne Speed Upscripted. It's actually Wayne Speedy Unscripted. Good on you, man, doing the same, building something I had no experience in. Yeah, that's something I went over in the first videos. I have absolutely no experience in this. And it's part of the reason why I wanted to take on this project is because I'm currently enrolled to get a computer science degree in college. And it's a lot of programming. And a lot of the field I'm going into is working with AI more and more. So I thought if I can make my own AI project now, it would give me a lot more knowledge and experience using AI and how it works and functions, and that could hopefully get me ahead in future careers. Van Sorcuro, I think it is. Feel you, brother. Yeah, Vegas Brent. Very interesting idea. Good luck with your project. Definitely should be an awesome learning experience. It absolutely has been a very, very good learning experience, and it's still learning a lot on it too. Friendly one clip, he says Raspberry Pi plus Olama, put RPI in case, add NMVE drive and battery. Think how to input props into local LLM. Done. Not so much if you want to run like a 1.3B model, like a Tiny Llama is, you can do that. That's what I was running on my HP laptop for the longest time. And the thing that happened with it is it hallucinated insanely. It didn't even know how many fingers were on a human. I asked it how many fingers are on a human hand, and it gave me a story about fingers and like a totally made up like Egyptian history about fingers and people having like some people have 6 fingers, some people had it was a whole mess. When you get below, in my experience, like a freaking like a 4 or 5 beam model, like they just like they're almost useless. They really are almost useless. So Raspberry Pi, unfortunately, is not a good tool to use with large language models from what I've learned myself and from what others have told me. Elliot 44307, good one, almost got me. Elliot, this is a real thing. I am actually trying to make this. It's not AI, it's not scripted, even though it probably should me. It would help me with my videos a lot more. But yeah, Elliot, this is a real thing. It's not a joke. D-Man Lewis 1, super interested. Good to know. AW-G, best of luck. Focus on privacy, just like Pavel Durov. I actually don't know what Pavel Durov is, and I do apologize because I have not looked into it yet since you made that comment about 3 months ago. But yeah, the big part of this project is privacy. So I know it's receiving a lot of data, which sounds very scary, But two things to remember. Number one is your data is being collected everywhere anyways and it's not for your benefit. And two, this data is not going to be accessible by anybody. It's going to be stored on your machine. You can take out the NVMe drive if you wanted to and destroy it with all your data without destroying the whole machine either, by the way, because that's just your data being stored on it locally. And start the system again with a new NVMe drive that's blank, and it could rewrite everything about you. So it's like, remember, it takes in a lot of this data, but it's all private. It's yours. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to receive it. Nobody else is going to receive it. It's stored on your machine. It doesn't even have access to the internet. Locally true Llama framework. You can just run your AI locally true Llama framework. Again, this is where I think people are getting confused. I'm not just making a local AI assistant. I'm making something that's using a separate program in Python that's going to actually passively learn data about you and store it. That's what's going to make it more personable, not the AI itself. Get Your Saxon says, figure out a way to make it look like you're not reading. I'm trying, dude. I really, really struggle when it comes to like public speaking. So I'm really trying. I don't always speak words the right way. And I forget like random words here and there that, just don't make any sense. That's why like I'll kind of like seem like I have like a run on sentence because I'm trying to remember a word that I can't. And I have to find a word that sounds similar enough to it. Okay, I'm going off track there a little bit, but I am trying to do better in video. Brevity Buzz says you have to reframe. Wow, this is a longer message than I thought. You have to reframe this completely. Half of what you said was just buzzwords that wouldn't apply to your product. For everything you say, ask yourself why. And if the why makes sense and solves a real problem, then ask how. You will quickly find out why am I being negative about this. If you want any model worth working with running on your device, you will have to have a lot of compute power included. This is both expensive and requires a lot of power and will make the device heavy enough that you wouldn't want to lug it around. You know what? You were entirely correct. Every single thing I'm doing, if I'm doing it, I need to ask myself why. There has to be a purpose, a reason, a customer for what I am doing. I don't disagree with you at all. And yes, you need to have a lot of compute power if you want to have like a very large language model on there. I'm okay with a mid-sized model for what I'm doing. I think that's going to be plenty AI power for what I'm trying to accomplish here, because majority of it is the passive learning that's going to make it feel a lot more personal. So I don't think you're incorrect at all. And those are questions I want to make sure I'm answering before I do anything. Like I'm going to have a 4 mic array. Why? Because I want to have it know where somebody is. Why would I want it to know where somebody is? Because if it hears multiple voices, it may assume they're all coming from the same place. And I want it to know maybe there's somebody named Brian on the left who's speaking and somebody named John on the right. So that way it has a little bit more self-awareness than any other AI product on the market. That's why that's something I want to do. And that's a question that should be asked for every integration I make on this product as well. And this guy here is the reason why I got my NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano. His name is Ilibibel Brox 1084. Again, dude, I am super sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I'm just doing my best here. He says, yeah, NVIDIA sells a mini PC for you to run local AI on, and it's $5,000 for a damn good reason. Sure, you can run smaller models on a 16 gigabyte graphics card, and that's fine. But going lower than that is effing awful. Laugh my ass off. Sub 7B models are ass. You're very negative, dude. Maybe this is not the message I was thinking of. Okay. And why would you ever consider lugging your LM brick around when you can just talk to it from anywhere via a myriad of options from SSH to Messenger apps? Yeah, okay, that message was a little bit more negative than I remember it being. But the key thing here is that he told me about NVIDIA making machines like single board mini PCs that are for running AI models. And that's how I got to finding, I can get a Jetson Orin Nano that does a lot of what I need it to. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM on it, dedicated for AI systems. Really cool. And again, you're not lugging the thing around with you, dude. It's actually made to be inside of your house. It's made to be on your shelf, sitting there. And there's a lot more I want to do to it. Like it goes way deeper. I have a big idea for what this could be and how it could connect to other parts of the home, how you can kind of have it set up like a router, and then maybe you have like again, this is where I struggle with words, so forgive me if I'm not saying it right, but you know how you can get like a Wi-Fi stick, not a stick, but like a Wi-Fi extender. You can plug it into, like, if you have a 3-story home, you put the Wi-Fi extender on the top floor and you got the Wi-Fi router at the bottom floor, and they both connect to each other. Well, imagine if it was kind of like the Wi-Fi router was the AI system itself running in the bottom, and then you had like other AI things. I'm trying my best here. That's in other levels of the home, so you can communicate. It's not really made to replace ChatGPT. It's made to be its entirely own local system that operates in the comfort of your home. When you're at home, connect to it with your phone. I don't know how I'm going to do that without Wi-Fi. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, so that may not work. It might be more like a remote you can use with you that connects to it. Because remember, a big part of this is privacy. And for you to have total privacy, you can't connect to the internet. So everything I'm saying, remember, I am still developing, still learning. So if something's not possible, we'll figure it out and we'll find another solution to it. So if I can't make it connect to a phone without having access to like the internet, for example, the idea is being dropped. Privacy is a number one component of this whole AI design that I want to do. But you're not lugging it around with you is number one. That's not what this is. It's staying put. This thing, and remember, this is just a case I made for it. I got it because it looks aluminum and I thought it was kind of nice. It's going to be like half the size. Honestly, I don't want to move it all the way to the side because my stuff might jiggle around, but it's going to be like half the size of this, like a box, like in my first video I showed you. I still like that idea a lot. And it's designed for you to leave it. It's going to be dense. It's going to be dense. It's not going to be something you want to move everywhere. Put it on a shelf somewhere, and that's where it lives. That's how it's supposed to be designed. And then, maybe I have an idea where you have like a microphone and a speaker that's just a mic and a speaker that connects to the AI via like an Ethernet wire. And you could put it like in your room, you can communicate it to it, but it communicates to the AI OfflineOne box, but then you're just talking to a microphone that's wired to it basically from different rooms. Big ideas, big part of this is privacy, so you're not lugging it around. Again, I think a lot of people are maybe a little bit misunderstand exactly what I'm trying to accomplish here. And that's totally okay. I don't even know fully what I'm doing just yet either. I'm still if you're familiar with the software development lifecycle, I'm only in the first 2 stages where I'm just like trying to design the product and design the architecture of the product and just try and see what I can do and what actually works. Well, guys, thank you so much for staying with me and watching this video and just learning with me on this project. Again, please, if you guys have any resources, anything that could help me with this project, any ideas, comments, questions, even, if you have like a complaint, like I should practice not looking like I'm reading something when I'm looking at the camera, maybe I should stop glancing to the right. I'm only doing it because I got my laptop right over there and I'm just trying to make sure I'm still in frame and everything. But if you guys have anything like that, let me know. I'm trying to learn and develop just as much as you guys are, and I want to make something not for me, but for everybody. So this product is something that I want the community to be focusing on and helping me develop as well. But you guys have a great rest of your week. Hopefully I can get you an update a little bit sooner than 3 months down the road. Have a good one.